Austin, you scored twice on Saturday in the win against Fargo, including one in the late moments. What does it feel like to be kind of like the villain in that moment and kind of quiet the crowd that was sold out in Fargo?
That was fun. That was a fun game. Obviously, a sold-out crowd is a super fun environment to play in, and I was fortunate enough to be able to score that goal in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. You've scored a lot of goals this season, and that 2-game goal drought, I think, is what you would call it. But 2 games, you wouldn't really consider that much of a drought. You've scored in just about every other game this season, if not too many more, and you're tied for the league lead in goals coming into the week. I guess how nice has it been able to put the puck in the back of the net? Like, it's always a good feeling, but at the rate you're doing it, it's got to feel even better.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, but I think it all comes from my teammates and the guys I'm playing with. You know, they make me better as well as I try to make them better.
Speaking of your teammates, you played with Rainers in Chris Delaney for most of the season. What's the bond like between the three of you? Obviously put back together here after Rainers comes back from World Juniors, but you played a lot early in the year, a little bit in the middle, but then coming back together has to be nice to kind of have that bond with them.
Yeah, for sure. Me and Chris were pretty disappointed when he left for World Juniors, but obviously happy for him as well. But it's good to be back. We obviously have good chemistry on the ice, but off the ice we have a great friendship as well.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. With the National Team Development Program where you played prior, the point total might not have been as high as it is this season, but I think the role also was a little different. I guess can you touch on how you've embraced your new role with the team as an offensive type of guy instead of maybe playing bottom 6 minutes? You're playing top 6 minutes. You're on the power play. How's that role change been for you?
Yeah. Like you just said, obviously being at the NTDP, I was playing those bottom 6 minutes, and I kind of had to learn how to be able to impact the game doing that. And now maybe getting more top 6 minutes and more of an offensive role, just being able to embrace that and learn how to impact the game doing that.
Yeah, I guess with that bottom 6 minutes, do you still take some of those roles and things that you learned there into your game today too?
Yeah, for sure. It all applies. Like being able to play on the bottom 6 and on the top 6, I think is a big skill, and it's important to be able to know how to do that.
Big weekend against Tri-City coming up with 4 points on the line. As we cross the halfway point of the season, we're in a playoff spot at the moment, but what does it take for you and the rest of the team to keep that push going, climb up the standings, and really try to get some home ice to play here at Bob Suiters Capital Ice Arena?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just day to day, just trying to get a little bit better every day, and not looking too far ahead, and focus on the upcoming opponent, which this weekend is Tri-City, and like I said, we'll take it day by day, weekend by weekend.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Austin.
Thank you.
Kuz, couple of goals this past weekend. How good does it feel to get back on the ways of putting the puck in the net? Obviously, you kind of struggled in December with that, but 3 goals in your last 4 games can't feel too bad.
Yeah, no, it's good to kind of see it go in again. I think, when they start flowing in, then they just keep coming, so it's good to know that kind of got my rhythm back, so I'm happy that I got my touch back, so that's all I could ask.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it, I guess. Do you think besides touch, was there any other difference kind of in the play in December versus here in early January?
Obviously there were some bounces where, I would have an empty net and just wouldn't go in, but I think my play, nothing changed in December. It's just now a little bit more puck luck. Maybe I'm focusing a little bit more on that touch and finishing my plays, and I'd say my play overall it's still the same, good two-way forward and just finding the net. That's what I try to do.
With a newcomer in Diego Johnson, you've been put on a line with him and Finn Brink for these last 3 games. What do you like about each of their games, and what blends so well with your game with them?
Yeah, I'd say I like to play high pace, high skill game, and Diego and Brinker, they're just really good, high pace players. They move their feet a lot. They move the puck north, and I think we're just on the same page here, and I think we just work really well together because we try to get up and down the ice as quickly as possible, and obviously it's fun to be around them and play with them.
You lead the team in power play goals. What do you like in your role on the man advantage? I guess the team's kind of struggled at points on the power play, but you've been a bright spot for that man advantage thus far.
Yeah, I'd say it's just having a shooting mindset. I feel like I have a good enough shot to where, if I see the net and it's me and the goalie, then I can, take that chance. And obviously it's been going in on the man advantage, but I feel like just my teammates setting me up, it's truly a team thing where we're practicing it a lot, and then when it comes to a game we execute, and I feel like a lot of times it's on my stick to be able to finish it off, and I just try to do my best to use my shot, and I think that it's a privilege to be able to put in that spot and execute. So
and I think a big part of a lot of things on the power play is comfortability too, and having that confidence. Being here for the second season, obviously I don't think there was a ton of confidence at the end of last season by anybody up and down, but here this year culture's changed. How has your confidence been? Do you think it's taken that next step forward where hey, I can put the puck in the net in this league without problem? It's just doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I showed a little bit towards the second half of the year, there was a pretty good stretch, but I'd say this year it's just a lot more consistent in my head, knowing that I can do it. And even whether it's man advantage or 5-on-5, I just feel like being in my third year in this league and second year here and seeing the change that's came through, it's a good feeling to be able to come back and just see everyone be so invested and just have that culture. It's really easy to play with and trust my teammates and play that style that I believe we can play.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Kuz.
Yep, thank you.
I guess early on in the season, it wouldn't be a shock to say, I don't think to you or anybody, that Patty came out of the gates and kind of looked like the guy. Maybe a little struggles from you right away, but you've really turned it around. And I mean, you're third in the league in goals against average. What has been the one thing that's kind of helped you along the way? It's not like you were a bad goalie early on or anything, but to continue success and improve on that throughout the season.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just really focusing on my process, coming to the rink every day and getting better. It was definitely a struggle early on, probably just putting too much pressure on myself to really be the guy, but I feel like after a few weeks passed, I was able to adapt with Patty and worked with him to really grow my game and try to develop a good connection with him. And I mean, ever since, it's been really good with us, and just trying to be the best that I can possibly be for him, and then the best that I can be for the team too.
Yeah, I think that's always something fans think of when there's a goalie 1 and a goalie 2, or even when goalies just split time evenly, which is what the Capitals have been doing for most of the season, that, they probably don't like each other because they're battling for playing time. But you guys seem to be really close, and how's that relationship with Patty?
Yeah, I'm super close with him. He's a good guy, and we push each other each and every day to get better, but I feel like going into the games, we try to be the best that we can possibly be for the team, and we know that we're good enough to both play. And I think just looking at it from afar, it's kind of a struggle to always split games at times, but you always got to know that you have someone else there that's pushing you to get better, and he's always there for me too, so he's been really good for me.
Yeah, and I guess in theory, didn't you guys have 3 at the national team program last year?
Yep.
So that probably, even when you're splitting games, it's less splitting time. You don't have to worry about Trey Augustine behind your toes or anybody else. Or Chambray, that was the other one, right? In your guys' daydream? Yeah, he's in the league too. He's in Sioux Falls. He's having a good year as well. Mm-hmm. I guess, is there a goalie that you model your game after, and what aspects do you kind of take from their game?
Goalie that I model my game after, I feel like there's a few. A little bit of Thatcher Demko in Vancouver, maybe a little bit of Carey Price, and also Frederick Anderson in Carolina. I feel like I just try to take little pieces of everyone's game and try to fit it into my game. Everyone's different in their own way, but trying to find what works best for you and just to be the best that you can possibly be, I think, is the biggest thing.
I think being the best of you can possibly be is kind of the stretch you've been on lately. Going in, goaltenders duel last week for sure. I think you saw it on the line chart. You see 15-0 on one side, and it's not any saying to Castro, who's also there with Slukinski, but both of you, Minnesota guys, and Slukinski and yourself, but obviously towards the top of the league in that category of goals against and just in general. When a game is low scoring like that one was on Saturday, you have a goalie on the other side. Does the mentality change at all? Do you kind of be like, this is going to be a fun one for me? Or is it more like, hey, we're just going to keep everything the exact same?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun, especially with a competitor like him. It's going to be a battle going out there. The adrenaline's going, especially in Fargo too, with a packed barn. It was pretty crazy, but I try to just look at it as it's another game. You prepare the same way that you do for any other game, and you have to go out there, focus on your process, and you can't really change anything just for a big game like that.
Last one here for you. It's your first season here in Madison, first time working with goaltender coach Shane Connolly. What's been the biggest message preached by him that's kind of been implemented into your game, if you can narrow it down to one, because I know he does have a big impact on everything here as well?
Yeah, I think we've really been working on just focusing on the process each and every day, and then also just really getting out of my head and just playing free with a clear mind. I think that's been the biggest thing for me so far this year. Just going into games and not really thinking about too much, but just playing and playing on instincts too, which have really helped me this year. And I think it's only going to continue the rest of the year.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Carson.
Yeah, thank you.
Dom, so obviously there's some changeover from last season here with the squad about halfway through the year. I think we just passed that point over the weekend. You have to be happy where the team's at overall, being here last year and then staying here this year and seeing the change year over year.
It's been a night and day difference as far as last year to this year, obviously. I know in the last 15 games or whatever me and Gilbs were a part of, we found a way to try to make hockey fun for the guys. We were able to still compete and do that, but again, at that point in the season, it was about the players and finishing the season the right way and finishing the season for the guys that were going to college or that were returning to us as a group. This year, from top to bottom, it's been so much fun to go to the rink every single day. To have obviously success on the ice will make a difference. It makes everybody happy when you're having more success on the ice. And I think with our group too is I think that we've shown flashes of being unbelievable, and we kind of run into sorry, we got Dingo over there with a little beanie on and laughing at me. But again, this year's team completely different. I'm excited about our potential. I don't think we're quite there yet, but I think that we've shown flashes of that. And with this second half of the season, that's where we want to make sure we're trending in the right direction towards the end of the year. Our success is our success, but can we strive to be even better as the season moves on, leading into sort of that third part of the season, which is playoffs, which is our goal.
Looking at the team right now, Caps are towards the top of the league in goals against per game. Obviously, I think that was category the team very much struggled in last season to this season. What's been that difference on the back end in net, just in general with the team as to why? I mean, number 2 in the league behind only Fargo, and you saw you can compete with Fargo on a night in night out basis. I think it was right there for Friday, and then Saturday took care of business.
I think again, props has to go to our goaltenders. They've both done a phenomenal job this year, and that makes a drastic difference for any team. On the same end, the confidence in us and our goaltenders, I think, goes a long way, too, for us offensively, for us to win hockey games. But at the same time, there has been a point of emphasis on us that we have to be able to defend. If we defend the right way, it will lead to more offense, and I think that guys are buying into that. You have the puck on your stick a lot more if we can defend a lot better, and I think that that's been a big point or big key to success.
Who's been a guy who stood out to you? It could be on that defensive end, could be up front, wherever, that lately has kind of stood out and kind of taken those next steps throughout the season.
It is fun to see the personal successes for the players in the group. Obviously, you can't go without saying Austin Burnevik is on fire, if you may, leading the league in points or goals or whatever it is at this moment. On the same end, I'll go to the back end a little bit. I think a guy like Charlie Michaud's done a phenomenal job of jumping in a spot where we are down to 7D at this moment, and he's kind of filled a void with us and gained confidence. He's still a young kid. You got to recognize that he's still an 06, but for him to kind of take the role on the power play and start owning more ice time, props to him.
You mentioned Chuck was an 06. Another 06 comes in, joins the fold here in the past couple of weeks. What are your thoughts been on Diego Johnson? You mentioned that you haven't watched a game of him live, obviously. With your role, you're kind of here and in and out some there. But obviously, Diego, You're at practice every day. What have you seen from him?
It's been awesome. He's jumped right into the group, right into the fold right away. He has a level of compete that for him jumping from the AJ to the USHL, we weren't concerned about that jump because he plays the game the right way. His details are awesome. We were excited about him, obviously, with in taking him into the draft. We knew we had high hopes for him. We're fortunate enough that he was able to come in and jump right in and start contributing, which is great. I mean, he had the assist over the weekend, which was a nice play. But I think that he's fit in very well with our group and added, more offense.
More offense. He's kind of part of the power play. Mm-hmm. Power play hasn't been the greatest at points this season. It's had stretches like Sioux City. Team went 3 for 6 on the power play over the weekend. I think you'd take 50% any weekend of the year. But overall, towards the bottom of the league in that category, what has to change? What has been some keys that we've been preaching in practice?
Your special teams is incredibly important at any level, the NHL down to this level, even down to AAA, which I'm coaching as well. With that, we have the talent, and we've shown that. You go into the 50% in Sioux City, we've shown that we have the talent to do so. I think for us, we're still finding a way to win hockey games having one of the worst power plays in the league. But at the same time, it's trying to find the chemistry, trying to find that combination of what's going to work, and we're going to continue to work with that until we find it. We will need that if we want to continue to have success or have more success as we move forward. But I'm confident in our group. I'm confident in our players that we're going to find it. I'd rather find it as we're trending towards the end of the year than have a great power play at the beginning of the year and then it fall off at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Tri-City comes to town this weekend. Patty's got some familiarity there. There's some familiarity up and down each side, I think. Obviously, with the team not coming since February 2020, so it might not be the same logo you see, but you will see some familiar faces. How important is getting points this weekend against a West team, but at the same time, just continuing that climb of, hey, let's get a couple points each weekend, and eventually we'll be in a good spot.
Yeah. Points are points, and we have to take when we get them, especially when you've got a home weekend. You've got to be able to take care of games at home and use that to your advantage. For us, I know our guys love playing at home. I know we've got great crowds, especially on the $5 or dollar beer nights that we have on Fridays. You take care of one game at a time. Playing ultimately, yes, it's a team you don't necessarily see, but a game's a game. And no matter who you're playing, we've showed we can beat anybody on any given night. So with that let's take care of Friday, and we'll see what Saturday comes, after that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Tom.